tomorrow. Julian Lescott and Steve Sidwell have been watching. I mean, it was workmanlike. Is that fair from City? I mean, Brentford made them work for it.
Oh, yeah, of course. And teams are going to do that when they come to the Etihad. But like we were talking about before, it's relentless from City. Then again, they're not trying to just dominate in regards to for the sake of it. That they're probing and trying to break you down, and all of a sudden you get to the last stages of the game and you fatigue mentally as well as physically. You force the errors and you capitalise on them.
It's so hard to stay switched on and concentrate for that amount of time. I've been to the Etihad plenty of times as an opposing player against this man here as well, and it grinds you down, it wears you down, and what City wait to do is just that split second where just someone switches off, doesn't cover over. For instance, tonight, 2 mistakes, and they punish, and they've got that clinical, ruthless edge which they've had for season after season, and it gets them the points tonight.
So in some ways, those mistakes, although they look like individual errors, they are the result of the pressure, the relentless pressure that mentally, if not physically, maybe both, you end up a bit scrambled.
Yeah, the position, again, it's the game plan. It's not necessarily, can't always be pretty wonderful goals. It's a case of, we're going to do what we set out to do, and that's dominate possession, probe, and all of a sudden fatigue mentally, and then you capitalise on the mistakes. And that's not easy to do either, you know what I mean? You've got to have the possession and keep doing the things, even when they're not working, keep relying on the fact that it's the right decision, it's the right opportunity to capitalise on anything that Brentford did wrong.
We mentioned that no one wins more penalties in the Premier League than Raheem Sterling, and he's clever, isn't he, in a way that he's almost waiting for this challenge. Yeah,
he's very clever and he does this, but also he's very naive into the tackle. Again, Canas tries to clear it, unfortunately, then he realises he may need to dribble out of there, he's not able to, and all of a sudden Raheem 1v1. And as he gets there, I just feel as a defender you've got to recognise where you are and who you're against and what the situation is.
He doesn't even go to cross it, does he? A play actually from Sterling, he pulls out at the last minute because he can see out of his periphery that the challenge is coming, and ultimately when you get contact as a striker and attacker, you're going to go down.
So Roerslev, he should stay on his feet there, or potentially the cross?
Yeah, I think he's trying to make a tackle rather than block the cross, and I think if he chooses the trajectory of the ball or the potential cross, I don't think there's no contact being made. I think he slides, and he can still slide, but all of a sudden he tries to block it rather than actually make a tackle.
It's reactive, though, because Sterling's put the absolute burners on, hasn't he? And then he's like, I've been caught out here, now I need to try and make amends for a mistake, or, you know, out of position.
It's easier sitting here saying it, but it looks at no point where that Raheem's going to cross that ball. So I still don't know why he's trying to make that tackle. If Raheem's not crossing it, what are you actually trying to block?
Because for the amount of analysis that goes into pre-match, Raheem Sterling would admit his left foot isn't his strongest tool in his box.
Yeah, of course, and that's the detail you need to have as a defender when you come up against world-class players that Raheem is. You need to recognise what is his weakness, and if that is the best possible outcome, he may cross it with his left foot. You may need to take that rather than trying to make tackles in the box, which can give away penalties.
But speaking of left feet, Riyad Mahrez has got one.
Wow, I mean, every time you watch him, he's so silky, so composed. I mean, what a penalty that is. I mean, he's got great feet, he's technical, his work rate is fantastic. You can see in some of the clips that when he went over to Pep, he was barking orders at him, telling him to stay wide. You know, he knows his roles, knows his responsibilities, and when he gets in that opportunity there, he hardly ever misses.
Yeah, it's a small thing, but it's something you notice when you watch City a lot, and you do, I know, and I've been there and been behind those benches. He's not averse to quite a kind of haranguing of his players individually, Pep, on the touchline at times, but I think that's because he's so involved in the minutiae of the game. It's not to make a point visually to the crowd or anything.
He's not doing it for show. He's doing it to get the best out of his team and the best out of the individuals, and I think they respect that as well, because I don't think there's any player that hasn't improved under Pep, so I'm sure they want that constructive criticism at the right times in regards to how they can improve their game, because he's elevated everyone's game, and arguably Riyad Mahrez has benefited more than anyone.
Yeah, he's been a real long purple patch now, isn't he? The second goal equally is, I suppose, the pressure that eventually the goalkeeper thinks he's passing to a defender. In fact, he's passing to Raheem Sterling.
And this is what City can possess as well, because they keep possession so much. They've got the energy and the fitness to do this. I mean, this is just a chain of events, a chain of sequences where really you look at it from the outset and going, well, that's poor play from Brentford. But there's so many elements to this from a Man City point of view where they the understanding and the positional play and the timings of each player that are doing it at the same time, it falls into their lap. Yes, you could say it was lucky to fall to De Bruyne after the shot, but the hard yards that they put in before that, that's what the reward that they get.
Yeah, it's actually a slightly scuffy finish, but then you players have often said to me, if you catch a ball too sweet, it often gets saved. It's the scuffy ones that go in.
Well, Steve will know better than me in regards to scoring, but I never wasn't one of them players that caught it sweet or scuffy.
A Man City legend, ᴠᴏᴀ, will know all about the scuff shot. He had a few of them.
But knowing Kevin De Bruyne, he probably meant the scuff.
Yeah, he meant to put it there anyway.
He meant to put it there, and there it went. And that was that. Let's hear it from the City camp. Raheem Sterling with Natalie Quirk.
Well, Raheem, it's a winning return to the Premier League, but how difficult did Brentford make that tonight?
Yeah, they made it really difficult. The game away at their place was a difficult one as well, and they're a hard team to break down. But we stuck to it and got the 2 goals.
There's a couple more opportunities as well. Was it about just being patient and not to panic? Was that key to tonight's game?
Yeah, I think just keep going, keep creating chances, and we'll hopefully take one. And we got the penalty in the first half, and Kev's second in the second half as well.
What was the message at half-time from the manager?
Yeah, just keep stable. They had a few breaks on the corners, so we need to be aware of that and keep creating chances.
In Brentford are in a difficult position, but they make teams work for it, don't they? Don't make games comfortable, do they?
Yeah, exactly. As I said, they defended well, and they had a tight unit, and we just had to keep going. Had to keep probing the ball and trying to find the gaps, and we did.
You maintain that unbeaten run, now 12 points clear at the top of the table. How significant do you see that at this stage of the season?
Yeah, it's another game, step by step, and that's what we can do. Keep going, keep trying to win, and not really look at anybody else, and just focus on ourselves. And the next game is vital.
Well done tonight.
Thank you.
Well, 12 points is, by any measure, a big gap, isn't it? Even though there are 2 games in hand for Liverpool, and it's only arguably a 2-horse race if it's a race at all.
Yeah, it's definitely only between them 2 teams, and it could be down to 3 points if they win their 2 games in hand and they beat City. So it could be closer than what people think and what it looks like at the moment, but at any stage in the season you want your own destiny in your own hands, and that's the case for Man City at the moment. If they match Liverpool's results, they win the league, and back-to-back titles as well, so that's what you want at any stage in the season.
Yeah, and they don't look like dropping many, do they, on current form? I know they dropped a couple at Southampton. From Brentford, do you worry?
I worry if the run continues and teams below. At the moment, they've got a little gap, and then when there's a little cushion, you think there's not much pressure there at the moment. But then, if Norwich and Newcastle start winning, and that gap becomes smaller and smaller, then you start going to games a little bit more anxious, a little bit more. It's not. You don't play as freely. So. This momentum's key, and they're on a run now that's going down. They need to. Performances have been okay. They need to start getting points on the board.
And in terms of certainly in the next few games, Newcastle at the end of this month looms large.
Oh, definitely. I think if the winner of that game is 1 point, 2 point difference, I think that team is in real trouble.
In fact, look at those three. Newcastle, Norwich, Burnley. Wow.
They could define them season. Them 3 games there could define their whole season. If they get potentially all go unbeaten and get 5 to 9 points out of that, then they're safe.
Yeah, it feels perhaps a bit harsh to say 2 teams going in opposite directions, but actually that...
Well, Pep, Brentford made you work hard for the points last time. Was that the feeling again this evening?
Yeah, definitely. So they're so difficult to attack them. They're making so good, so aggressive high pressing and man-to-man, and after when we can do a good build-up, they drop a lot and they defend so deep, so compact, they defend, they don't jam, so it's so difficult. Be patient, don't do mistakes, and at the end, we got the result fairly.
Are those kind of results sometimes the most satisfying when you're up against a stubborn team like that?
Yeah, every game when you win is satisfied, and for example, Fulham, the previous game in FA Cup, is completely different approach. So, yeah, very satisfied. We were smart. We conceded just one shoot, few corners. We didn't make stupid faults, like free kicks in corners, they are so good. And we were patient enough, but it's difficult when they defend so deep with the 10 players, but literally in almost 80-yard box always is difficult, was difficult and will be difficult.
Riyad Mahrez when breaking the deadlock and 7 goals in his last 7 appearances. What's been key to his campaign this season?
Yeah, he's a guarantee in the penalty taker right now. He can shoot in both sides, right, left, and with aggressive, and yeah, that's good.
And Gonzalo with another clean man of the match performance. How impressive was he this evening?
Joao and John Stones, both. John Stones, without him, would not be possible. He read perfectly the movement we should do to break a little bit the structure, and he did it incredible well. And Joao, his talent up front, so he's a fullback. It was our best winger, so with the quality to dribble 1 or 2, 3, like our wingers were not able to do it. So yeah, it's an incredible top form.
There is a lot of games still to play, but a 12-point lead now. How do you view that gap at this stage?
Liverpool has 2 games left. After they are going to play, we will see the gap. But you know, it's 14 games to play and many points still. Tough games like today. So, and the results, you know what happened. Look now, Tottenham lost at home against Southampton, and everyone is a tough competition. We're going to play a lot, but it's important. This stage have 60 points means we have done incredible well so far, and now yeah, rest in 3 days. Another game in Norwich, sorry, like they are in incredible good run and top form, and after start the Champions League.
Thanks, Pep.
You're welcome.
Yes, Norwich away and then to Lisbon for Sporting in the Champions League for Manchester City. So Brentford work hard, but then, fellas, so do Manchester City, Steve.
Yeah, definitely. And if you look at this goal in isolation, you would say that it's a mistake from Brentford and Reyes at fault, but that's not the case. Again, we're going to show you and highlight every member of the front four for Man City and how important they are. And first, it's Jack. He cuts off the pass out wide. Then you've got Phil, Kevin and Raheem up in there as well.
They've all got a vital role to play in the element of this goal, but none more so that we'll see from Phil.
Yeah, because this is here. He waits the ball to go wide, and he doesn't necessarily just think, I'm going to get to him as fast as I can. That's not the important job. The job is stop this ball going forward, get on the passing line of this, and all of a sudden, as soon as he does that, the ball has to go back inside, and then that allows Jack to press, obviously show and predict where the pass is going, but also Raheem, he's waiting in between, waiting for that pass to go wide because he can close him down because he's fast, but it also allows Kevin to get across.
It's all about distance, isn't it? The timing of the runs off of each other, knowing when to press, where to press, and forcing the ball to an area where they obviously wants to go. The clever thing is with Raheem done, he's thinking that Ra's going to play it out wide, but he holds his run as Raz heads down, stays where his ground is, because I think he tries to double bluff him, doesn't he? And then goes for the ball in the middle, works a treat into Man City's hands. And
the only thing you would say is that Raheem possibly should score, but this isn't an unforced error. This is by design, and it shows how good Man City are at winning the ball back higher up the field.
Yep.
Thank you very much, you two. Fascinating stuff. Let's get the Brentford perspective from their boss, Thomas Frank, also with Natalie.
Thomas, not the points tonight, but a battling performance. Was that the verdict? Did you get everything you asked for from your players?
Yeah, I think if you take everything into perspective, playing against, in my perspective, the best team in the world this moment in time in terms of the way they're performing City. We play without our number 1, 2 and 3 striker for various reasons. We couldn't start them. And the way we defended with discipline, good structure, top mindset mentality. I think we made it very difficult for City. I'm very pleased with that. I think we gave almost very few chances away. And actually the 2 goals they have is by far the 2 biggest chances, and we give them the 2 goals by mistake of a penalty where we should never give a penalty, and of course the mistake by David. So that is the tough thing to take, that we make these 2 mistakes in a game that could have been a fantastic point. And I also think if it's 0-0, then I also think things would have opened up a bit more. So difference were the two mistakes we did, and we didn't take the chance we had for Rico, or for example a pass from Nørgaard to ᴑᴏ that could have been through. But a lot of positives to take from this game.
I was going to say, as much as the two mistakes were disappointing to lead to the 2 goals, is the positives and encouragement to take from that?
Yeah, definitely. I think again, I think that's the big thing. Where yes, we want to win. Yes, we want to get that win. And I'm convinced we will, because if you look at the performance, if you look at the work ethic, if you look at the mentality, no heads are dropping. They keep working, keep staying in there. And if you keep doing that, it will turn around. It's about keep staying positive in these situations. And then we are so close to get everyone back fit, and I think we've been very unlucky with that. No excuses, but we all know we need the fit, strongest players. And now Brian and Wissa hopefully are there. Ivan hopefully. Josh got 30 minutes today, so I'm fairly positive.
How important was it to stay positive when they went a goal down? What did you make of their reaction?
I think we, I didn't expect anything else, I must say. The discipline from these players is amazing. So, yeah, I think it was very, very positive.
And looking forward, you hopefully have some players coming back, and you do take it a game at a time. But how important do you see these next couple of games before you play those teams that are in and around you?
Yeah, but one game at a time. I went here with a plan, and I think it was almost perfect to get something out of it. So massive focus on the next one. I'm convinced that will give us a lot of points, because I'm not thinking far ahead. It's about to recover tomorrow, train Friday, and play Saturday, and then take from there.
Something to build on from this evening.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, welcome. Thank you.